Hi guys, my name is Rivonia. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Still on the Couch with Rivonia. I am super excited to be back with yet another installment of Wonder Wednesday. If you don't know what Wonder Wednesday is, please go back to the video I made about how God answered my silly prayers. Yeah, and then that is actually where I explain what Wonder Wednesday is. So firstly, let me just apologize because I know Wonder Wednesday is not coming on a Wednesday, and I did say that 2021 is the year of implementation and consistency. So I realized that I could not wait up until next week to shoot. So my apologies for that, but we are here, we are doing it either way. So today we're doing storytelling. So a story, actually also a testimony. I told you guys that Wonder Wednesday is going to be full of so many testimonies of Varsity. It's Wonder Wednesday / Varsity Diaries. So for those who don't know, I started a TUT. During my first year of TUT, actually I was squatting. Yeah, a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. So I was squatting at TUT. For those who don't know what squatting is, it's basically I had a friend who got accommodation, who qualified for accommodation, and I was actually on the waiting list, but I did not get accommodation during that time. So I was staying with my friend in her room, but it wasn't really legal because it was her room. But it was the norm then. I remember in that room we were actually 5, but it was supposed to be a room for 2 people. So almost every room, it was really rare to find that there's no squatter. Anyway, the first year of Varsity, I was squatting with Lilana. Shout out to Lilana. She was so amazing to me. And as I said in the other video, it was one of the best years of my life, even though the struggle was real, but I really enjoyed my first year with Lily. Anyway, moving on to second year. Second year, security was super tight actually, so I could not squat anymore. So I was still on the waiting list. So I'd been on the waiting list actually for over a year. So yeah, it was really hard. And I remember that year, beginning of the year, I just finished the registration process. I literally went every day to Varsity to check if like I got accommodation or what was going on, literally every day. I didn't even have to say anything anymore because those people knew me. I just got there and they were just like, no room, no space, no accommodation, but I still went every day. Anyway, luckily my best friend came over that year and she got accommodation outside. So she was like, you know what, you can come stay with me in the meantime while you're still busy looking for accommodation, because I was also looking for accommodation outside the campus. So just a few days in, while staying with her and some of my friends, actually some of our friends, because we had like mutual friends. So while we were there, somebody broke into our place, stole our laptops, phones, money, and I remember I just withdrew money for groceries. I had not bought groceries, and I think almost each and every one of us had done that. So we just withdrew money. We were still gonna go buy groceries and everything. So whoever broke in and took everything. So it was pretty bad. And immediately, I think a day after that, as we were still like, how are we gonna make this work? We're still calling home, like, you know, we're shaking. How did this person even break in? The landlord found out that we were actually squatting as well there. So she was furious. I remember she called at night and told us that in the morning we all better have her money, because she heard that we're squatting, we're staying there illegally at a place. So we were so scared, even though it was a temporary situation. Now looking back at it, I'm realizing, I mean, she was obviously a businesswoman, so it was understandable. But by then I was just like, why is this woman not being understanding? So we woke up. She had said she was going to come very early in the morning. So we decided to wake up, I think around 3 a.m. in the morning, pack our bags and left. We had no idea where we were going. We just left. I think it was the 3 of us, if I'm not mistaken. So we left with our bags, and it was just so sad because you're thinking, you know, we just somebody just broke into our place, took all our things, and now we just have clothes and blankets. We have nowhere to go, and it was extremely hard to find accommodation very close to the campus, and that's what we needed. I remember we found some house and we just asked, can we just put our bags here while we go to class, because classes had started, so I still had to go to class. I remember that day in class I could not concentrate because I was just thinking, where am I going to sleep? And by that time, you don't even have money for food, but food is like the least of your worries. You're thinking, where am I going to sleep? And the funny thing is, there will be people who took advantage of that, because, you know, some guys, especially older guys or security guard, would come to you and say, you know, I actually have a big place for you where you can sleep, but, you know, there's nothing for mahala. And obviously they were insinuating that if you sleep with me, you can get all the accommodation. So to be honest, at some point it would be so tempting to say, oh God, why is it that you've forsaken me in such a time? Anyway, after that, I remember we went to squat again. Yeah, no, squatting was like a thing. We went to squat with my friend's younger sister, who was also staying in rest, but it wasn't the same institution. And there they were like super strict. So we couldn't even go to the bathroom anytime we wanted. We had to make sure that there's no security during that time for us to just go out to the bathrooms, because like their restrooms were a bit further away from the rooms. Anyway, we kept every day going to look for accommodation, and then finally we got a call, I remember, after a few days, from this guy to say, you have a place, and we have a place for 3 people, you can all come and stay. And the beautiful thing about it was that it was actually a place that was very close to the campus, so it was a walking distance. We knew we could not afford to have to pay for accommodation and also pay for transport, so we were so happy. And I remember we were actually also praying and fasting. So we're just like, oh, God, finally, you've answered our prayers. This is amazing. We took our things, went to our new place, excited. I remember that night, I think we were just eating. It was actually the men of that house who had actually called us and told us that we have a place. So somebody called us to the main house, all of us. So as we went in, we were actually just thinking that they want to tell us the rules and regulation, but oh well, it was actually something else. It was the lady of the house. We got there, we sat down, and she sat us down, and she was like, well, I think there has been a misunderstanding. And you're thinking, what misunderstanding? And she's like, me and my husband had actually agreed that we would not let students stay here. We would rather have like couples or guys, but we're not gonna let students, especially young girls like you, stay. So I don't understand how he called you to say you can come and stay here. So I'm just gonna let you guys sleep for the night, but I want you out of my place tomorrow morning, because I don't allow girls here. So you can imagine, after all the struggle and after all the praying and after all the fasting, after everything, we were all not ready for that. Like, what? Anyway, we did it as we were told. So in the morning, we packed our bags and we went back to squat again, and we kept looking for another place. Anyway, a few days again, the guy called us. Now we were just, going to and fro, but because we were desperate, we didn't care. So they called us back. The guy called us and said, I have no idea what my wife has told you. I'm the one who welcomed you here, so please come back. And then later the wife also came and welcomed us. So I guess they were just having they were fighting about something. I don't really know what their issues were, but finally we went back and we stayed in that place. However, I wasn't really, that wasn't my prayer. I had always wanted to stay inside the campus. So I wasn't really happy with the fact that, I wasn't 100% happy with the fact that I was staying there. I was happy that I have accommodation, I have a roof over my head, but I was like, God, my deepest desire is to just stay inside the campus, especially because I was very active in the campus, and a lot of the things that I did after classes, so I had to do them up until late. And a lot of, even the church service, I had to attend a bit late, so I needed to stay inside the campus. That was my deepest prayer. And as I said, I would go to the rest admin every day. And every day they told me I'm on the waiting list and there's no space. Anyway, I actually continued with my prayer and fasting, and I was like, God, please. So one day I woke up and I had the Lord this time, and the Lord was like, well, today you can actually go to the rest admin. You can imagine the excitement that finally I'm actually going to get a place inside the campus where I've always wanted to stay. So I left, and as I was going, I remember just after I entered the campus, I met these two other ladies. One of them was actually blind, and the other one said to me, "Do you know where Resat Min is?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course, I'm actually going there." And she's like, "Oh, great, because I needed somebody to accompany this lady because she doesn't know where it is, because I really have to go somewhere. And I really have to go there now." I was like, it's fine, it's okay, I'll go with her. I mean, I was still high, excited that finally God said to me, "Today, you can go there." Anyway, we went there, and I remember when I got there, because that lady knew me, when I got there, she just looked at me and said, "Next," like with attitude. And I did not understand, like, what? God, I thought you said that today was the day. Like, how is it that this is happening? So I just stood there, and I was hoping something would happen. And they were busy helping that other lady who was blind, and she had obviously gotten a room. After that, actually, one of those ladies who were helping with accommodation said, "Who came with this lady? Can you please show them where Student Town is?" Which was the accommodation, like the place where students would stay. So I honestly felt like, what's the use of me going with this lady? I don't even have a room. Now I have to go show somebody else their room while I'm disappointed, while I did not even get what I wanted. But I remember at that moment, the Holy Spirit like touched me to say, "No, you don't know what I'm doing. Help her out." And I finally just said, yeah, I came with her, and then I took her to Student Town where she was supposed to go. Anyway, after that, I went back. I remember I was so disappointed, and I went to the Lord, and I was like, "God, but why did you say I should go to Resat Min when I wasn't going to get accommodation?" And I remember God saying that, "Well, I needed you to go help that lady. That's all I needed you to do. I didn't say go there because you're getting accommodation. I needed you to go there because she needed your help. So I needed you to help her." I was like, "Oh, okay." So obviously next time I learned a lesson from that, to say next time you have to be specific. So after some time, a few days after that, actually, I was continuing with my prayer and fasting, and then the Lord said, "Today you can go." And obviously I asked this time, I was like, "Lord, are you saying I can go to Resat Min because I got a room?" And he said yes. So obviously I woke up, I left very early, and as I was going on my way, before I could even get to the campus, I was really rushing. I met this other lady. She looked very dodgy, and I could tell that she was coming to me, and I was thinking, "Oh my God, what does this lady want from me? I'm rushing, I don't have time for whatever she wants." I was thinking actually that she wants to sell me something, and it was very early in the morning. So she came to me, and you could see that I could see then that she's quite stressed, like, and I was like, "Oh God." And she was like, "Hi, how are you?" I was like, "I'm good." And she asked me if I could give her a minute. She needed something. I was like, "Oh God, what's up?" And she said, "I actually locked my baby inside my house, and my baby is like I think it was a few weeks old or something, a very small baby." And she was like, "I locked my baby, and the keys are inside. So the only thing that's open is the bathroom window. So I actually need you to go through that window because you're so petite. I think you would fit, and actually unlock the main door for me." And I was thinking, if I don't rush to Resat Min now, there's probably going to be a long queue. I don't really have time for this. But I think, even though I did not hear God during that time, but there was a certain level of peace to say, it's fine, help her out, it's okay, God will help you, help her out. So I did. I remember going to a house which was very close, and going through the bathroom window. I got stuck for a few seconds because it was really small. I don't even know how I made it through that window. And then I opened her door, and then she was very grateful, but I did not have time. I was just rushing to Resat Min. When I got to Resat Min, there was a long queue already, like an abnormal queue actually. I don't know what was going on, but there was such a long queue that day. And I remember I got there, and I didn't queue. I was like, well, I don't have time to queue. I actually have a class now and these people know me. I'm not going to queue here. I don't even know what they're queuing for. So I went straight to that lady who knew me. So I greeted her, she greeted me back, and she never said anything. She went back and she was busy writing some things. I was like, okay, like I had no idea, but I just, what she was doing, I mean, but I just stood there. And then after a few minutes, not even a few minutes, after probably like a few seconds, she came with some papers and gave them to me. At that moment, I don't think I was aware of what was happening. Like I was just like, is this really happening? Is God really doing this? And then I remember she gave me the papers I signed, and she said, just go to this person, do this and this and this. And as I was busy signing, writing, I think the people in the queue could notice that I was actually getting a room. And getting a room, I mean, at TUT, especially at the campus that I was in, was a real struggle, like a real struggle. So the people on the queue were just like starting to complain, to say, hey, we've been queuing here, and now she just comes and you're just gonna give her a room. And then that lady said, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know this lady and you don't know what she's been through. And at that moment, I felt really touched, because I thought that lady did not like me, because every time I went there, she just looked at me with this attitude and everything, only to find that she did actually notice, and I guess she was making plans for me to get a room. So to cut the long story short, I finally got the room, but that's not it. I actually qualified for another room, which was like, you know, one of those very special rooms that very few people get, and very many people apply over and over again and they never get. So I qualified for that one. A few months in, I went to stay in that accommodation, and not only that, God started to open door even financially. Like every sphere of my life, everything just started to go well. Like I had no lack anymore, honestly. It was just abundance, like exceedingly abundantly above all, as the Bible says. So I think that story for me, it had really, the number one thing that it taught me is the gift of giving. I think I'm going to put it that way, because in many instances I saw how God would help me after I helped somebody else. Like God was teaching me the art of giving to others, and I don't mean in terms of just money, but I made an example with that lady, how I was able to take my time and actually just help her out. And also the other lady who was blind, that, you know what, some doors in our lives will never open up until we open up and actually help other people. I think that's the first thing that it has taught me, that we should have an open heart to help other people, you know. And then obviously the second thing that it has taught me is that God is intentional about each and everything in our lives, and He never makes mistakes. And of course, He's the provider. He desires only the best for us. All we need to do is trust Him. So thank you so much for joining me for today's installation of Wonder Wednesday Varsity Diaries. We're coming back again next week. And then again, if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. I love you guys so much. And yeah, bye.